and welcome to Diecast Restos. I'm Jason and this is a Lesney Matchbox 49B Unimog. These models were produced between 1967 and 1972. It was upgraded to the Superfast line in 1970 and the tooling was also resurrected 6 years after its discontinuation to feature in the 1978-79 2-pack series. Underneath the red paint, mine is an early tan-bodied type paired to a turquoise chassis. Here's how it should look, complete with tyres. And this is a Unimog 406, which the casting is based on. Built between 1963 and 1989 by Mercedes-Benz, the Unimog was not always a Mercedes product. In fact, a German firm called Boehringer produced the Unimog, as pronounced in German, from 1948. Daimler-Benz took over manufacturing in 1951. The design of the Unimog centres around its chassis. It has a flexible ladder frame with short overhangs. Its portal axles allowed for the wheel centres to sit below the axle, and this gave it high ground clearance without the need for large tyres. The wheels had a high range of vertical movement, making it excellent over rough terrain. It also gave it a high driving position to aid operator visibility. The name reflected its operation. Unimog is a German acronym for Universal Motor Gerät, Gerät meaning equipment in the sense of machinery or apparatus. Unimogs were designed to have front and rear tool mounts with hydraulic connections for bucket loaders, arms and lifts to be installed. Until the 1963 406 came along, Unimogs had been light-duty vehicles. The 406 was their first medium-duty offering. While the original Unimogs utilised a car engine, the new 406 used a heavy-duty truck engine, meaning it carried more than twice the engine power of the lesser 401. It had a larger wheelbase than the 401, plus had 11 different body type options. These included enclosed 2 or 4 door cabs, a cabrio, i.e. roofless, and as a cab excluding any rear compartment for the third parties to install fitments. In 1966, the Unimog was modified to include a tilting cab. It also featured a removable bonnet and saw the removal of air louvers that extended beyond the headlights on the front fascia. This casting features those louvers, indicating it is based on a pre-1966 design. My casting was painted in a tan shade paired with a turquoise chassis. This changed later on in production to a light blue body with a red chassis. In fact, real Unimogs were mostly in a green called lorry green. 70% of all 406s built were in this colour. There were only 5 further choices, with 8 others available as an extra. I've just flattened out one of the severely bent mudguards, and I'm now sizing up a replacement tow hook, which will be glued on next. The castings in either colour had silver trim applied to the headlight and grille section only. All came with a dark green tinted window piece and had a spare tyre mounted underneath the body on the left side, which could fit over the 8mm yellow hubs. While the spares usually stayed put, most play-worn examples are found missing the tyres due to age-old shrinkage issues. Here I am removing the leftover paint from the spare, glass and hubs after they've sat in Dettol for some time. During the period where the colours on the casting changed, some very rare tan body and red base combinations were created. These are extremely valuable if you're lucky enough to find one. When the blue coloured model was converted to the Superfast line in 1970, most lost the front grille trim. The red used on the base was a little darker than the regular wheels variety. While it retained the thin spare tyre, the 4 hubs and tyres were replaced with chunky low friction wheels. It was then discontinued in 1972, replaced by the chop suey motorcycle. The Unimog reappeared in 1978 in olive drab as part of the 2-pack series. It was teamed with either a Weasel Scout car or a field gun trailer with a plastic ammunition box. It differed from the regular release with all black dot dash style wheels and had paper labels applied to the bonnet. To match the original turquoise of the chassis, I've used Tamiya's TS41 Coral Blue, which in my mind is a fairly close match. To complement this, I've used TAMIYA TS68 wooden deck tan on the body. I will need to give this a coating of clear gloss after I've detailed it, as the tan dries very flat. Now, the real Unimogs, built from 1963 to 1966, that this casting emulates, were given the model code U65. From 1964, these used Mercedes 5.7 litre direct injection diesel straight 6 engines. The 63 to 64 406s used the smaller 4.6 litre pre-combustion chamber straight 6. Until 1966, both units produced 64 horsepower and had a top speed of 40 miles per hour. It was uprated that year to 69 horsepower, then 79 horsepower in 1969, before the final engine upgrade to 83 horsepower in 1971 that spanned right through until 1989. Unimogs continued to be produced to date. The heavier 425 series entered production in the mid-70s, and a light 407 and medium 417 series began production in 1988, before 406 production was halted. An all-new UGN series entered production in 2000, and this is the generation that continues at present. But now I'm just reassembling the last remaining pieces of this build. With the spare tyre secure between the body and chassis sections, all I need to do is realign the posts and secure it with 2 screws. So here's a reminder of how my 49B Unimog looked not that long ago. Someone had painted nearly the entire casting in red, not missing the windows, spare tyre or the hubs. The other tyres were missing, and the tow hook had been broken off. Once upon a time, this Unimog would have had a tan and turquoise colour combination, indicating it was one of the earlier 49B releases. It doesn't look up to much at the moment, but I've rolled back the years so it now looks like this. You'll instantly notice the gains, a big hike in height most of all. The reproduction tyres make a huge difference. I've stripped away the red overpaint and replaced it with its original livery. The plastic parts, namely the hubs, spare tyre and window piece, all had the paint removed from them and now look far healthier. I added a reproduction tow hook to the stub where the old one once existed, and the mudguard that was bent totally out of shape has now been straightened. I added in some customary grille detailing and coated the body in gloss clear to give it that surface shine. But that about sums it up for today's efforts. If you enjoyed the build, please leave a like and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks to all of you who already do. If you can, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon, though I know times are tough for us all. But anyway, all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.